Hi, welcome to this new series, which is going to be called Being Heard. We're going to talk about all different aspects of being heard and what that means, and maybe even some why. Why do we want to be heard? And we're going to start with talking about being heard acoustically. I don't know if you've noticed this, but have you ever gone to a jam session and tried to take in an amp? Just, maybe nobody else is using an amp and you show up, maybe even with a little amp, like, I just want to be heard, I just want to be a little bit louder so that I can bring my voice. And then everybody looks at you. Yeah, so you start thinking about maybe there's ways that you can be louder in a jam session and bring your volume up. And there's that whole aspect of why do jam sessions have to be so loud anyway? And why does everybody have to bring the biggest and loudest guitar? The last jam session I went to, let me tell you, it was me and 12 guitars. Yeah, and I think I told you about that. It wasn't really that much fun for me. And everybody was competing. There were two people who had brought amps, and they were playing their guitars through amps. And they got to turn up and turn up and turn up. Goes to 11, right? And why do we want to go to 11 in a jam session anyway? And what kind of bad etiquette leads us there? So do we really want to get louder? Do we really want to be part of the problem? If we do need to be louder, maybe it's not a jam session situation. Maybe it's you're busking. Maybe you're going out and playing on the street and amps aren't allowed in that particular city or town or street. And you need to be louder because there's maybe some traffic noises or the fella who's half a block away and he's playing the saxophone. Yeah, it happens. So how do you get your Autoharp louder? There's all different kinds of ways to do that. And this is going to be a series that starts in talking about those things, the acoustic things, the things that we can do with our picks, the things that we can do with something called a resonator back, things that we can do with the way we string up our harps, different kinds of harps, and which ones are louder than others, and why we might choose certain harps for more volume over others, and maybe sometimes that we don't want to be louder. That's all part of being heard too, is how do we get heard if we're being quiet? And another thing that occurs to me is being heard is also part of being an artist and having a voice. How do we make our voice heard through our songs or our offerings musically? YouTube is a perfect example. I never expected to become a YouTuber or a YouTube influencer, as that's the buzzword now, is being an influencer. All of these are aspects of being heard. And after we talk about the acoustic things, we're going to have some videos, and I'm excited about this part in particular, videos about amplification, playing louder through a mic, playing louder through a pickup, plugging your harp in, and then amplifiers and PA systems, how to plug into them, how not to plug into them, and different kinds of pickups there are, and different kinds of miking and pickup combos, and what those are about, and what you might want to try, and where those things might be appropriate and where they might not be appropriate. How do you work with a sound person? Let's say you're doing a live performance and you can't hear yourself. How do you negotiate certain setups with a sound person? When is it okay to go in with specialty needs that you want worked out on the stage before you begin to play, and when do you just have to forget about it and just go in front of a microphone and do your thing. And these are my opinions and my findings, and I am certainly not the expert at electrical applications. I used to play electric all the time when I was performing in the schools, and the world has come a long way since then. That was back in the 90s. But I'm going to be finding out more about it, because this has been one of my goals, is to kind of go that way more with my playing, and I'm hoping that you'll go there with me. And so this series is going to be all about being louder and being heard and having our voices heard, whether it's, I don't mean our voices literally, I mean our Autoharps specifically, but I guess our voices too. At the end of the series, after we talk about amplifiers and playing through mics and plugging in, I want to get into pedals, talking about different kinds of effects pedals. And right now on the market, there are thousands of effects pedals, and there's some that are more basic, and they've been around for ages, and there are some that are really new. And frankly, a lot of these effects you will learn are more than we want to go with the Autoharp. But that being said, there's definitely room for some people to come in and do really amazing things that have never been done before with an Autoharp using electronics and electronic effects. Maybe that's not you. Maybe you want to just use electronics to make the natural sound of the Autoharp, which is so gorgeous, making it louder so that people can hear it, like the way you do when you put your ear against the instrument. And that's a great goal to work towards that. But some people want to make the Autoharp sound a little bit more modern. And so different ways of doing that, and things that you might want to try and mess around with. I might get you excited about some pedals. And after that, there's more. We're going to get into looping. Looping, I've currently got 2 loop devices that you can play into and lay down. There's different applications, but one of the most common is you play a backup part and then you loop it, so it keeps going around and around, and then you can practice soloing over the top of it. And so we're going to talk about looping and some of the other applications of looping. For example, I might play a backup on my Autoharp, but then go grab a Native American flute and play a solo over the top of it with a flute or a different instrument, which is another aspect to looping. Or I might play an accompaniment on my piano and then play Autoharp over the top of it. So looping, we're going to get into all of that in this series. Okay, I've gone on for a while. I just wanted to tell you what it's going to be all about. I'm looking forward to doing this, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.